Greetings, 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 family. Thank you so much for tuning Black in. The Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360, the Melanin Report 360. I am your hostess, Deanne. It's been a while. I was on sabbatical, but I'm really happy I'm back and coming to you live on a Friday. And I'm going to have some adjustments in my schedule because some things have been coming up really good on my path. And I may be a weekend girl only. So I'm going to look at that as a like Saturday and Sunday, perhaps. So I will come back on tomorrow and also Sunday. So I'm going to try this for 3 days and perhaps get some more viewership, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you again for tuning in to the Melanin Report. I hope everyone has been really super duper well. I have been taking care of a lot of business and this and that, and I didn't want to spend time necessarily on YouTube because I had so many moving parts in the last 2 weeks. I think I came on Thursday, so it'd be 2 weeks yesterday. So I really miss doing the videos, and I hope these are really, really fruitful and everlasting. So a lot has been going on, a lot has been going on. And I'm asking the question, are we remembering that ye are gods? We are gods and goddesses. And when you have that understanding, understanding, and overstanding, you treat life so differently. You're not as chaotic in your mind, your heart, your spirit. You're paying attention to your children. We're not so on these gadgets, um, cell phones, and we just are in a better place because I think that's the end goal is to have us chaotic and confused and perplexed and sometimes violent. And so we need to remember who we are. So let me read the fair use disclaimer just in case. So we remember to read the fair use disclaimer. So I dot every I and cross every T. So copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and education and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So thank you again for tuning in. Share, like. So I really wanted to speak on a couple of topics. It seems like the son of the guy that was in the White House prior to this administration, he came out and said the George Floyd, allegedly the George Floyd mural had been struck by lightning, or that's what, I don't know if it was on the news, but it was maybe on some social media outlet I look at. And so he was saying it's a sign of God, from God. I'm like, really? Seriously? So we have to understand, understand, and overstand a lot of information now. We have to go through a couple of prisms to like speak truth to power. And we know doggone well that was not the case if that happened. So we have to consider the source. So a lot of things that are coming out of the House, the White House, whatever we want to call it, it's, we have to like look and look again, because it's like, is it Democratic, folks in the House, or is it Republicans? Oftentimes we cannot tell a difference. I'm just saying. So now the big thing is I've gotten in a little bit of trouble of talking about COVID-19. So I'm going to bypass that little topic. And so we have to really make sure that we have a surge in our heart, our mind, and our spirit. And whatever decision you make, let that be your decision. I'll just say that. So a lot of times, because we come from a fear base, our ancestors were they had a lot of fear in their heart because there was a lot of chaos and confusion and death and destruction and lynchings, the list goes on. And so they had fear. They had a sense of fear. When they had their babies, they didn't know if the baby would stay with them. So think about that. You give birth, you know, and the slave master can come and take your baby away. This is pure evil. So this is where our fear comes in, because a lot of times people respond or react. I like to say the word react out of fear. So fear is false evidence appearing real. So keep that in mind, false evidence appearing real. So we need to understand and understand where this is coming from. We don't need to necessarily be fearful. We've already done that. We've been there, done that. Our ancestors did that. And for this to be our plight now, it's ridiculous. We're also afraid of not being able to vote. Think about that. So what, 50, 60 years, almost 60 years, 1964, um, Voting Rights Act, and we're back to square one, as if that never happened. They may have to start the jelly bean test, count the number of jelly beans. This is what was in the mind of mean-spirited Caucasian, often men, sometimes women. I'm not saying all, but the systems that were in place. And so they had evil and mean spirited way to see if we can vote. So we're almost back to the same square. I'm like, has anything changed? Like 50, almost 60 years later, this is where we are. This is where we are. And it's cloudy right now. It's the sun's starting to come out. So yeah, it's monsoon season, and usually I have the blinds drawn, and it's a little dark. I have to put the light on, but it is monsoon, so we look forward to evening storms and this and that. So yeah, so getting back, it just like appears that the more things change, the more they remain the same. Have you heard that before? So the more things change, the more they remain the same. So we have to look at this because it is incumbent of ourselves to really dig deep into our heart, into our mind, into our spirit. And remember, you own this body. Let me say that. You own this body. Your body. Your body. Not anyone else's body. You own. And I got chills on that. So you own your body, your mind, and your spirit. Definitely. No one can take that away from you unless you give it to them. Tell me what I'm to do with my life, kind of thing. But now we're fast forward to the voting rights. It's right back on the table, front and center. I've heard it, whatever network you listen to, they're talking about it. And so we are saying the more things change, the more they remain the same. Because if we know better, we tend to do better. That's really the way life goes on. We know better, so we learn across, over time, and we do something different. But these folks are digging in their heels, of crazy and confusion. And so, with that, you have a sense of helplessness, a sense of hopelessness. I just want to differ with you. We are gods. We have goddess power. We have God power, goddess power. And with that, getting hot in here. Woo! It's getting hot. I might be having a little personal surge right now. So let me adjust. I thought I would have been able to keep this on. I'm going to go to the gym after this. But we just have to understand and overstand where we are. But in that, we can emerge to the highest of heights. Our ancestors already did that. They laid the blueprint. And so there's no sense of us turning the anger on each other or into ourselves, onto ourselves. So this is not good. So make sure you have a family meeting, maybe once or twice a week. No cell phones. You have to put the cell phone, leave it upstairs or leave it in another room. So we have to have strategies to navigate this beast. We're in the belly of the beast. We're still seeing, really having a little moment here. But we really need to see what is really going on. Voting should not be back on the table. I thought that was a one and done. But the trickster, remember about the trickster? So, looking at something over here and then something going on the other side. You're keeping your eye on that ball, and then they're doing something on the other side, not in sight. So this is where we are. This is where we are. So remember, you own, I don't own anybody else, but you have a right to choose. I will say that. You have a right to choose. Hear this. Don't be scared of making a decision, you know, to do or not to do, or what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Be at peace. Be at peace. Be at one with yourself. Be at peace. Okay? Because our ancestors did not have a choice. Our enslaved ancestors oftentimes did not have a choice. And we earned that choice because they laid down gave their life for us to have choice. So don't give up your right to choose in all facets of life, because this is where we are. This is the tempo of this country. They have you spinning your wheels on this, spinning your wheels on that. Where's there ever peace? When has there ever been peace in our society amongst Black and brown people, melanated people? I don't see that. I don't see peace that passes all understanding. It's in the Bible, and it's not practice. It's not practice in this society. This is where we are. So pay attention, but don't get in the sauce of it. Just be a spectator. That's interesting. That's interesting. Because the goal is to distract you so that you're immersed in the chaos and confusion, and your children are merged, no matter how old, they're in the chaos and confusion. And this is not this is not the purpose of life. Hear that. This is not why we were sent here, why we have this experience of life. So pay attention where your attention is going. Everyone doesn't deserve your attention. Okay. I got chills on this. So when something is going on, you should be a spectator and not immersed in the soup and the sauce of it all. No, not everything deserves my attention. This is my personal opinion, and this is how I live. Because once they have their their energy and in you, and you're fearful. Oh my gosh. Oh, COVID. Oh, voting. Oh, it's just all of the same chaos. I mean, I think countries are kind of laughing at this country because they're like, to be so young, this country is young in the big scheme of things. They don't even know how to recycle. They don't even know how to take care of the planet. They don't need, we should be first and foremost of recycling. The planet should not be warming up. Instead of, it is warming up, because I believe, I'm living in Phoenix. I don't think this is going to be a habitable place in 50 years, 50, 60 years. Perhaps I won't be here, but I just don't know. Is it habitable? Because we have never taken time to recycle. When I may have told the story, I had one of my first questions with the HOA was, how can we recycle? Can we get recyclable bins? We're in an HOA, have like a couple of containers, we have a dumpster, and then have some recyclable containers. Made sense to me. Oh, well. We're not even interested. We're not even interested. And you have to make an extra step to do the recycling. So I take my goods to a recycling place, maybe 15 miles, 10, 15 miles from me. It's worth it. I'm doing my part. I drive a Prius. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. But this country, down, people are going to the moon, right? People are going to the moon. I was reminded of Gil Scott Heron. I mean, my father loved Gil Scott. I mean, he was just a Gil Scott Heron, because he was a poet, and my father wrote poetry. But he definitely wrote a piece. This was probably in the 70s, probably in the 70s. That's how he projected out, when you don't have all the distractions of the cell phone and this, you can just go in and just pull everything and bring it back in. That's the beauty. He didn't obviously grow up with the cell phones. He's probably, had he lived, he probably would have been 75 or 80 or something like that. But he wrote the song Whitey on the Moon. That was, that was like in the 70s. I remember that being I think my father had the album. My parents had the album, Whitey on the Moon. And here we are. Whitey's on the moon, and he was talking about things that are going on in the society, and yet Whitey's on the moon, you know. And I think my sister Nell, I didn't print it out or read it, but it was if you have a moment, check out that poem, Whitey on the Moon by Gil Scott Heron. So this is where we are. This is where we are. We are focused on, obviously, the pandemic. We're focused on not being able to vote. We're focused on, it just goes on. It just goes on and on and on. And now we have social media. It's just off the chain, off the chain of negative and, got you coming and going. So what I do, I have a limited amount of information I seek, and I am actually writing my book. And so a lot of my time is going into those endeavors. And that feels good because I'm working through a lot of family dynamics, which can be really intense. And I'm getting into a couple of different difficult areas. So, I'm just, I'm sure I'm going to come out on the other side of it. So, but I mean, I have some family dynamics, and as we all do, and I'm pinning it, putting it to print, and hopefully in that I will heal, have a self healing, and there can be a conversation perhaps in perhaps my family, with me kind of I don't want to say a tell all, but it is addressing a lot of issues. And I was prompted to do this probably earlier this year, earlier because I knew I needed to write a book because the last book, it's been so many years. And so I needed to say, oh, well, let me go ahead and do another wellness book. And Spirit was like, I don't know about that, Deanne. You may be able to tell your story right now. This is a good time to tell your story. My AC just cut off, so I was screaming perhaps. But we have to look at this. We are gods. We are goddesses, you know. And if we can put I just read something, um, a football player, I don't remember the name, I'm not even going to go there, was allegedly, put in jail or something for physical domestic violence. When is this going to stop? When is this going to stop, brothers and sisters? This is unacceptable. Don't you know who you are? When you know who you are, you move in a certain way. You live in a certain way. Some things won't even come in your consciousness because you know who you are. We know who we are. And so when you know who you are, you live abundant in peace and love and joy. There's nothing else we need to do but live in peace, love, and joy. Even though the outer world, I'm not going to say, oh, nothing else is happening. We have to do certain things to protect ourselves and our family, but don't harm each other. Didn't our ancestors go through enough pain and suffering and lynching and sodomizing, and I mean, you name it, it was done to us. And the fact that we are still here, don't dismiss that, because they knew what they did to us, our ancestors. And at some level, form, or fashion, they are still doing it. They are doing, no one goes to jail to prison. No one's convicted if you have a blue badge and you come out the car 3 seconds later, your 12-year-old child, Tamir Rice, is dead. No questions asked, no nothing. Oh, I thought he was an adult. Even an adult, you need due process. And that child, I mean, he didn't even see the light of day. He didn't even see, it was just a shame. This is where we are. So we need to be mindful and be prayerful, ancestral prayer. And we need to do our part to safeguard, because safeguard ourselves, our bodies, our mind, and our spirit, and our families. Just protect, not guard, but protect. That child was playing out guns and bank robbers or whatever. He was just playing toy, and that person that called on the police Instead of going out, that's a child. Why is the police called every time? Don't do that. Like I shared, my mother a few months ago, she couldn't get a hold to me, and she called my cell phone. I had some cell phone problems, whatever. And so she told, someone, oh, yeah, I was about to call the police. I said, don't do that. I'm not kidding. Don't do that. Not everything requires police presence, because there's a chance when it's black and brown, somebody's going to go in the body bag. I'm just being real. So let us protect ourselves, each other, and maintain a sense of respect, self-respect. Even that child who called the police from her cell phone ended up, I don't know where it was. I mean, I want to say Ohio. She ended up, 15 bullets or 7 bullets, whatever. It wasn't in the leg. She didn't have a chance. Did not have a chance, and she called the police. So what I'm saying, don't call the police. If something dire is happening, okay, call the police. But back in the day, oh, I'm calling the police. Back in the 70s, I grew up, 60s, late 60s, 70s, okay, 80s, and you could definitely call the police at that time, because there wasn't a sense of being killed. That wasn't even in the mind of the police office at that time. It was very rare. It started happening in the 90s, I do believe. 90s, after the crime bill and all that, it was like game over. You have to protect yourself. A lot of people like 18 bullets in them, 17 bullets, black and brown people. So it's enough to make your head spin, but we know we are gods. We are goddesses. So you need to have your livelihood at a higher level, so you can miss the fray of the chaos and confusion down here. You need to raise your antenna high. And so out of the line of the chaos and confusion, perhaps turn off the TV, put on some music. Put on some music. Have a music day. Have instruments. I don't even know if they have music in the schools now, because when I was in high school, well, all throughout my childhood, from age 7 through high school, I had music. That's one thing about New York City. I grew up in Brooklyn, and so we had PE every day, 5 days a week, and we had music, or you had art. So I was in music. So we had music 5 days a week, and we had PE 5 days a week. And the number of quote unquote obese children that I remember was like two people in my whole, going through public school, grade school, high school, 2 people. And so we have to get back to some of this. We have to return and restore our sensibility of being trustworthy and loving to each other. Definitely. If you don't see you see a black man or black woman, the last thing should be in your mind is to harm them. I don't know how upset you can be, but we're all in this quote unquote struggle together. So understand, we are all trying to get to out the line of fire. We are ascending into a higher dimension. So keep that in mind. If you are low energy and chaos and confusion surrounds you, just go within and find out, why is this happening? there's a purpose for this lesson. And so I need to change the dynamic and have it to switch it up. You know, we have to ascend higher to get out of the war of crazy that's going on. That's all I can say. It's definitely crazy. And so there's so many things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I had some notes in my mind. I didn't write anything down, but even this might be controversial, so I don't know if I'm going to share this. But I had an opinion about the Miami incident. You know, yeah, because so many of our people have been killed with impunity. They don't even care. Like, just a black body, just a black body. In fact, I just walked into, I share a personal story. I just went to T-Mobile to do something. And so, there was another brother and he went and, got something done. So I was just standing there and I noticed he looked up, the salesperson, or, what, I don't know their positions, but the salesperson looked up and did not greet me. Did not say, "Oh, welcome to T-Mobile." Usually that's what happens. So when, it was my turn, because I know how people react. They can't react because I come so smoothly. I don't raise my voice. I don't do any of that. I don't, that's not me. I've never done that. I've never been that woman to, cussing people out. I rise above that. I don't have that in my orbit. That doesn't happen. And so when he was helping me with what was going on, and so I said to him, like in his face, like, I said, I could be a secret shopper. When I walked in, you looked at me. And this is as a matter of fact, this is what happened. I said, you looked at me and you didn't greet me. And I said, I could be a secret shopper. Because they have secret shoppers. I used to work at a company that we had secret shopper. We didn't know who it was, who walked in, and, you have to do the customer service all the time. And so you have to stay on your game of customer service. And so when I said that to him, it was a young man. He was like maybe 25, something like that. I could be his mother, perhaps grandmother, maybe mother. But when I said that, I could tell he kind of, he wasn't confrontational. He didn't have that kind of energy. And I didn't say it for that reason. I wasn't trying to be confrontational. I was just stating fact, because they don't know who the secret shopper is. Because we walk in, buy something or have some service done, and you're going to see, you have a form usually online and you can give feedback, blah, blah, blah. But he paused, like, And so I say all that to say, you never know where the God is. You never know where the goddess is. This was a little drop of treat everyone respectfully, because I am a customer like anyone else. And I'm doing this a little bit more lately, not confrontational, but I know customer service. I know firsthand customer service. And he looked up, he saw me. I can't say he didn't see me, but he was, just going to ignore me. And I calmly and sweetly said, I could be a secret shopper. He probably is still thinking about that. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We are gods. We are goddesses. This is where we need to be, above the fray of chaos and confusion. Let the vote be the vote. Let the vote be the vote. If they take it away, they take it away. I don't want us to spin our wheels on the chaos and confusion that oftentimes comes with living in this country. And I believe that a lot of our energy and time is worried about, oh, I can't vote again. I mean, if they take it away, take it away. I'm still waking up every day and going about my business and doing YouTube videos. But we have to understand, overstand what is fundamentally important and fundamentally not important. And we need everything is I'm like, no, it's not. You know, if this is where we are after all these years, after all of these years in the belly of this beast, we need to look at us more carefully. We have to self-examine. Because if we're caught up on the vote or the COVID or the this or the that, or there's always something. The wheel is always spinning. And I'm just saying, hey, just observe. Just observe what's going on. I think this country, I mean, I was born here. I'm born and raised in New York. And I think it's on a slippery slope. I'll just say that. But I'm not attached to any outcome. Let me go on record. I'm not attached to any outcome in any way. My health and well-being, the health and well-being of my family, etc., that's one thing. And the people, Black and brown people overall, I hope, I wish us all the best, but I just don't want everyone to be on the seesaw. You're up one day, you're down one day, you turn on the news. I like observe the news. I'm like, that's interesting. They talking about that now. I'm a spectator. I don't have a bone I don't have a bone. What's the saying? I don't have a bone or a nickel in that quarter. I used to say that's my, I don't have a nickel in a quarter, because it's always going to be something. And I just want our safety, our mental safety, our mental, emotional safety, our spiritual safety, navigating through this country and all that comes along with it. I never had any notes today. I was speaking from my heart and my spirit and my mind. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, and I will be back tomorrow and Sunday, and that's going to be my schedule: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No more Monday through Friday. So yeah, Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. So I look forward to your comments. And if you want to send me a message, please do. I look forward to your comments and your suggestions and forwarding this YouTube clip. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be at 2:30. Okay, 2:30 Saturday, 2:30 Sunday. Thank you. Peace.